Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing an updated brow routine. I've been kind of going towards the more like natural-ish brows that kind of look like little hair marks. So yes, if you guys want to see how I have been getting my brows to look kind of like what this does, just keep watching. Alright, so what I have been doing lately is I'll take just this little, I think it's called a Kabuki brush from Bare Minerals. It's kind of an old brush, but I just like to kind of like barely brush it over my brows before I even get started, just to kind of get any like loose little powders from the rest of my face off. So then after that, I'll just take like a little spoolie. This one came with the Wunderbrow, and I haven't used it like in the Wunderbrow, but I do use it just for what I'm about to do. So just whatever spoolie, and I just kind of like to comb them kind of up and over before I even do anything with them, just to kind of get them into the shape that I want them to be. Okay, and so lately, this is what I've been doing. I ran out of the boy brow, which I had been using for quite some time. This is what I have been using most recently before I got the Wunderbrow, and I love it. I love it so much. I actually have another one that, you know, I'm going to be using at some point in time, but this one is actually empty, and I'm going to use the Wunderbrow, and I'm using the shade Black Brown. So these kind of, it comes with like a little like weird like lip gloss looking brush, which I would never use this on my brows. I feel like it would turn out really strange. So because the boy brow is like in a little tight closed like little container instead of like this one, if I were to dip that into the Wunderbrow, I would have to throw it away after using it because it would dry out and I wouldn't be able to use this anymore. So because this one was empty and it has just like the perfect tiny little brush, I'm going to be using this empty one for the Wunderbrow. So what I do is I just take like the little boy brow thing and I just dip it into the Wunderbrow, pick up some of the product, kind of like wiggle it around a little bit, and then I put it back into the empty container because it has that little like squeegee thing inside, so it kind of gets off some of like whatever's left on there. And then I will dab this, like the end, just the very tip of it, on a paper towel, just because it kind of gets like a little bit too much product on it. So yes. And then after that, I will just kind of go in and I'll start in this like middle area and just very gently brush my brows. And be very careful not to get this like outside of the lines, because if you do and it dries, it is like quite difficult to get off. So I just kind of comb through them in the shape that I want them to be here. Then I'll just re-dip and do the same on the other side. Okay, and then once I kind of get that like first base coat down, I'll just kind of like re-dip and then go back in and solely focus on the outer, like the arch into the tail area, and just kind of build this product and color up here. Okay, so this next step, it's a little extra. If you have like fuller brows and if you actually have like quite a bit of hairs on this outer portion right here, I don't, but if you do, this might be the end of the tutorial right here. That might be all that you need to do. But because I like barely have any hairs through here and it looks very sparse, I like to go in with something a little bit more pigmented than the Wunderbrow, like a little bit more and a little bit darker, just to kind of like really fix this outer portion right here. And for a while I'd been using the dip brow pomade with this little, what is it, the NARS number 38 angled brush right here, which I love this brush. This is a really good brow brush, but I always have like the hardest time finding angled brushes for my brows that don't kind of fray out to the sides after a bit. I like them very sharp so that you can get like kind of those little like hair-like strokes, but I like this one, but I always have to kind of like smush it back. So what I've been doing is I've been taking the Laura Geller Brow Sculpting Marker, which is like this guy right here. It kind of has like 3 little prongs that really kind of make it look like there's brow hairs, but this isn't dark enough. So what I'll do is I'll dip this into the Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Kit, just this darker shade right here. I'll just kind of like dip the little like points into that just slightly, and I'll lightly go in and just make little flick marks with that. And you can do this part however you want. If you want to use an angled brush and a powder or a dip brow, something like that, or even like a brow pencil, you can, and just make little darker flick marks here. But this is just, for some reason, what's been working for me lately. And again, I'm just focusing this dark color mainly on like the arch into the tail, and then I'll kind of lightly blend it into this little front area here. And then sometimes I'll just go to this very like bottom part of the inner portion here, and I won't drag it all the way up like up here, but I will do just a little bit along the bottom just to add a little bit more like definition to the bottom of my brow. But I like to leave this front like top area here really kind of bare. Okay, so once I get them to like pretty much the darkness and the shape that I want them to be, I will grab my Morphe M410 brush, this little like flat top square brush right here, and with nothing on it, sometimes I'll take some concealer if I really want the edges to be like really harsh and really kind of like chiseled looking, but because I'm kind of going for the more like almost hair-like natural brows, I am gonna just take nothing even on this brush, and I'm just gonna wiggle it along the edges and just kind of, you know, tidy up the edges if there's any parts that need it. And always remember, your brows are sisters, not twins, especially with like more natural like brow hair looking brows, kind of similar to this, just because I mean, if you look at somebody with fully natural brows that don't fill them in, they're not going to be exactly the same. That's just not natural. So just remember, if you're getting like frustrated with them not looking exactly the same, don't worry about it. As long as they're like mostly the same, you're gonna be fine. Okay, and then the final little thing that I like to do is I'll take the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel, or I'll take the Glossier Boy Brow, whichever. But today I'm going to use the Anastasia one, and I will just lightly run it through the brow hairs just to reinforce that they stay where I want them to be. And I'll kind of like comb this middle part right here upward, and then as I kind of get out this way, I'll kind of just focus them, like brushing them over instead of like all the way up. And so then after that, usually I do my brows very last, like what I'm doing right now, after I've like already highlighted and all that. So with the, like, when you clean up around the edges, sometimes you can kind of like mess up the highlight that you have. So I'll just take the brush that I use for highlighting, and I won't pick up any more highlight, but I will just use whatever's left on the brush just to kind of gently go along, like right around the edges where it might have gotten wiped off, just to kind of touch that up. And then that is all that I do for my brows. That is kind of like my updated, like what I've been doing lately. And it really doesn't take that long. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button down below and to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And just to let you know, because we did use the Wunderbrow in this, these brows are staying put all day. You have to use like an oil to get them off. So that's like an added bonus. All right, so I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.